G'day, Trooper Cody and Steve. One of our videos, not so much debunking Hollywood, but putting another perspective on Hollywood. So you've all seen the movies of the Old West, and you've seen saloons, and you've seen the type of girls that hang around in saloons, and they're usually wandering around in their corsets, underwear. Well, if you remember a little while ago, I made a video. It was about Wyatt Earp and Dodge City, and I described what the town was like early days and then within a few years. And in there I described the number of dance halls and saloons when the city started and then a couple of years later. And you might think, why do you differentiate between dance halls and saloons? So we won't get into the type of women and the activities that took place in saloons. But why there's a differentiation between dance halls and saloons is because they were seen as being very different. If you're watching this from another country, welcome to Australia. The flies have just exploded this morning. I've treated Cody with some anti-fly repellent. I should have put some on myself. They're all over me in my eyes. I digress. Why are dance halls mentioned separately to saloons? Because the women in dance halls were not prostitutes. They were there solely for legitimate dancing. The dance halls had an orchestra of sorts at one end. Yes, they had a bar at the other end, but gross drinking and drunkenness wasn't tolerated. Behaviour was expected to be good in these dance halls. The women in there were well dressed, respectably dressed, and the reason they did this is because they got $1 a dance. When you went in there, or I should say right now though, Dr. Thomas Dimsdale wrote Vigilantes of Montana in 1866. So in 1866 he goes into quite a deep description of what happens in a dance hall, and that what's hard to describe perhaps is that not all men wanted to be with prostitutes. The religion was really strict, church beliefs were strict, people believed in heaven and hell, they believed in Satan, they believed that if they did the wrong things they would be punished. So a huge percentage of men back then, yes, there were hardly any women, but they still didn't want to be with prostitutes. And remember, disease was rampant as well in these frontier towns. And so it was seen to be quite respectable to work in a dance hall. The girls could average up to 50 dances a night. That's $50 a night they would get paid. And there are records that show that some of these girls had bank accounts and merchant accounts that were in the thousands of dollars. Respectable girls that were a bit brave. I love you too, yeah, okay. Respectable girls that were a bit brave came from the East because they could earn in a month more than they could earn in 2 years back east in a job that was available for women back then. The men behaved very properly in these dance halls, and again, this is one of those things, I guess, that's pretty hard to describe in modern times, the feelings back then that men had, many men had, in relation to women, their mothers, their sisters, and so they were respectable. And it is incredible how little trouble erupted in these dance halls, despite the fact that it was 50 cents a glass, a drink was 50 cents a glass, a bottle of champagne was $12 in 1866. So we've also talked, I also mentioned the fact that hurdy-gurdies, so there were dance hall saloons and hurdy-gurdies, and the term hurdy-gurdy in the 1860s and 70s actually referred to a respectable girl, sort of respectable girl, that danced with men in a dance hall. They were called hurdy-gurdies, and so sometimes the premises were called hurdy-gurdies as well. Bit of history there, bit of unusual history. Rambled as always. Cheers, thanks for watching. Till next time. Thank you.